Welcome to Tai Chi. Everybody ready? Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Waist exercise. Interlock those arms. Keep them closer to your ear as you turn at the hips and waist to peek at the heel of your opposite foot. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can I show you something that's wrong? This is wrong. Okay, why is it wrong? I'm using my arm to help me to turn, whereas if you have it stiff close to your ear, you're turning only at your hips and waist. Okay, so you don't want to add that weight to help you to go down. All right? Airplane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Be careful. Shift your weight, kick your foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2, 3. Hands at your waist. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman, opening up your span, parallel feet. Choose one side, cross and sit on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shift weight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Short one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, good Tai Chi posture for a good golden cockerel. Shift your weight, center, counterbalance, and up. Last set. Kicking out. Shift weight, center, follow your kick. Last set. Watch what I'm doing and see if you can find something that's you can use. Holding our ball. Root down, store that energy. Out and to the side, part the wild horse's mane. Ward off. Turn your hips and waist, grasp the bird's tail. Push out, roll back. Ward off. Turn hips and waist, reposition hands as you grasp the bird's tail. Push from the center. Make yourself small and spiral up and forward. L stance, bow stance. Sit back. Move that energy. Roll back, make yourself small, extend and out. Push them away. Turn hips and waist. Sit down, sit back, look back. Parallel higher on a T. All together as we brush our knee. L stance, O stance. Hold your ball in a T stance. Part the wild horse's mane. Parallel higher. Hold your ball. We're going to ward off. We're going to part the wild horse's mane. We're going to do cloud hands. Flip the forward hand, join it with the back. Sit down, lower, 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, stem cup, 3 o'clock, flip open. Stem cup, only flip. Two things happen at 3. Two things happen at 9. One thing happens at 3. Shift yourself into a golden cockerel. Finish it up. Grasp the bird's tail. Sit down, sit back, pivot. Open pivot, in pivot, off the ground, right hand on the inside, rotate at your wrists, bring the tiger up to your chest, bring it in, push it out. Separate shoulder width, drop your shoulders, flex your knees as you now close your form. Okay, so here are some little cleanup things, okay? Just for better doing Tai Chi. So one, you know, it was this one, okay? And I really put a lot of emphasis on, so let's try that, okay? So this is a waist exercise, okay? So your arms, first of all, should be stretched up high. Then you turn at the hips and waist. Just turn at the hips and waist. Keep those arms closer to your ear. Closer to your ear, okay? Not everybody's doing it, but a lot of you have changed. Now, once you get this thing, all these elements, then you turn at your hips and waist and look at the heel of your opposite foot. That's not easy, but it helps you to use your hips and waist. You don't want to see that heel that you're leaning to, but the opposite one. So you really have to bend and turn, okay? Okay, you can put your hands down, without having to use your arms to help you turn, okay? This is not the point of it. The point of it is to use your hips and waist so that you can unfreeze it, make it more pliable, make it more flexible, okay? So that's one, work on it. For golden cockerel now, I'm not sure if I got this point across, but yes, one hand comes up. Yes, one hand comes up. So what does the other hand do? The other hand makes a spiral, but not a low spiral, because this hand that sits to the side has to be able to push down while the other guy comes up, right? Counterbalances you. So in other words, the front hand comes up, but if this back hand is too low, it's already too far down and it'll throw my Tai Chi posture off just because I know I have to go down. So how do you counter that, okay? So people have to watch and listen, okay, because you don't know what I'm going to say. So I'm going to repeat that, because if you don't understand that premise, you're not going to get the rest of it. When one hand, forward hand, comes up, the other hand has to start up higher to actually come down. If it comes down too low, you're not going to get that down without throwing your posture off, right? So what do? You start that hand up higher to come down. You do not start low and come down. So can I see that other hand? It spirals high and then comes down. It spirals high and then comes down. Don't do this one. It doesn't come down and then have no way to go. It doesn't have enough depth to go down. So it's easier if we put it together, okay? All right. However it takes you to do a golden cockerel, try to employ what I just taught you. Okay, last one. All right. Okay, does that help? Does it need practice though? Yeah, so it needs practice, all right. Now, if you can understand what I just taught you, it layers, it gets even better with different techniques, okay? So just going over what I had just taught, and then we're gonna watch. The hand that sits to the side starts to spiral up higher. It starts at right about here, right about here. It does not go down below your hips and then makes that low spiral, because the reasoning is that the side hand has to push down while the other hand pushes up to give you a counterbalance, and a safety measure. If this hand that sits to the side comes too far down, you're not going to have enough room or depth to go down. So this is how it's supposed to be, okay? All right. But in this position, I'm teaching only that element. However, it can get better. How can it get better? It can get better because I will favor by slightly rotating or turning on my cable rather than being straight forward. Do you see that I'm angled? The hand that goes down, the shoulder goes down, whereas the other hand that goes up, the shoulder goes up, using your core. So I'm no longer going this way, right? I'm now softening it and turning towards the side the other side where I'm stable, okay, the footed side. Okay, let's try that. Do you understand? Any questions? Okay, let's just try it. It's gonna take a while to change, but the main thing now is to absorb and understand first, okay? All right, opening up your span, good Tai Chi posture, dropping those shoulders. We're gonna be a golden cockerel in a new way. Start your spiral up higher and favor the right, favor the left. Spiral up higher. Okay. Last set. Okay. When we kick out now, don't be afraid of coming up a little higher. Because why? When I come up higher, I have this downward motion. If I'm down low, it's not going to help me. I want to come up a little higher. So in this case, now that you've really gotten used to being a kick-out person, you can now alter. You can say, I have the confidence. I understand what's going on. So you want to give yourself a little bit of a boost, a little bit of a added feature to make you safe. So yes, I may not go up as high as you can, but I'm getting the point that higher is better. Okay, you can stand there and do it. Rather than medium or even low. Because you can come down, gather that energy. And here again, you don't want to be straight on. You want to have that turn or twist to the body on a rotation. And at the same time, your core helps you with your shoulders. So this is a down on the down the shoulders, come up and out. When I say shoulders, take into consideration, they don't act alone. It's your core, okay? So yes, it gets smoother and more, I think, prettier. And it's going to be over a period of time. But those are kinds of things that I want you to have before we stop. So this is lesson number 8. We have 2 more.
You know, you've been taught how to kick out and use your arms. But what's important also is to generate the power from here. You can go as high as you want up here, but if there's nothing to help you, it's not going to help you. Versus if you coordinate your core, it all goes back to core and being centered. Yeah, you're like this. One is going up and one is going down. But what's happening? On 2 sides of the body, centered. So you're going to go up, centered, and you're already thinking about, I'm standing here, substantial. I'm set to further help yourself, you use this. You use up and down, okay, but turning up and down. Okay, there's other ones like brush knee, up and down. I'm just doing this, and this, I'm here already, and these things help me stay in one place. If my hands are all over the place, this is jeopardized versus if I'm in the right place, one is coming up, one is coming down, I stay in the same place.
Good. Okay, so if you get that technique down, I guess is what we're trying to say, or Ken is trying to stress, is that you can apply it to all of Tai Chi. Okay? It's not an isolated single technique that you learn. All right, when we part the wild horse's mane, at the end position here, we often refer to it as a flying diagonal. Can you see that my tips of my two hands, there, if you were to draw an imaginary line, it would be definitely a diagonal. Right? Would it be a flying diagonal if I did it this way? Hardly. It wouldn't even be a straight line. I'm waiting for the tip of my finger to come to this tip here. In doing so, and we're going to practice, you will feel an expansion of your chest. Okay, remember this one? Why did we warm it up? To keep it together? No. Okay, you're going to apply what you warmed up. In doing this expansion or flying diagonal, we are addressing our core. It's not our hands that are coming out this way. It's something that stretches from your chest, something in the center, which is your core. So don't get me wrong that the flying diagonal means your hands flare out. It's coming from the core. Okay, so that's another element that you can work on. But we'll practice it now so you can get that feeling, okay? So don't give me your hands as a flying diagonal just because she said so and use only hands, but try to get that stretch within your core and feel it through your chest, okay? So we're on a T stance. We're dropping those shoulders, right? Because that's good Tai Chi posture. On a T stance, on an L stance, on a bow stance, flying diagonal. So you notice that we're slower, but we're trying to get those sensations in. Lower, pivot, root down, holding your ball, bring that ball in, your hands in, out on an L, move that ball, stretch from your chest, from your core, and make sure that your fingers can draw that imaginary diagonal. Sit back, lower, pivot, center with a ball, root down to store that energy, out on an L, move that ball, get a good stretch. Sit back, lower, pivot, root down, center, move that ball on an L, get a good stretch. And hold your ball. Okay, so one other thing, okay? So sometimes I see it more than I see it when I'm editing, okay? So when you come down on a parting of the wild horse's mane, you, as a commencing form, this shoulder, when it comes down, is the marks where that shoulder keeps at that same level. So in other words, say it another way. When you start to commence, and this is the level in which I want to do my Tai Chi, where I have enough flex, where my shoulders are down, I do not raise them and take another level through my whole piece, whether it's a 10, 24, or the 16. So you have to then decide as an individual where you're comfortable to avoid something like this. Okay, that never should occur in Tai Chi. You change your level. I said I wanted it here, but all of a sudden I said, oh, that's too low, so I come up here. That should never occur. So it's an individual thing. If you feel that you have to do it on a higher stance, that's fine, but don't raise it any more than that. So you're going to have to discipline yourself, okay? And we see that even in our old-time students, so that's why I want to start you folks off really well in that you know a little bit more rather than fall into a wrong or a not so good posture and then have to recorrect it, which is harder to me, okay? All right. In parting of the horse's mane, we got it. In multitasking to brush our knee now, here are the spirals again. If my hand, remember now I'm going to apply what I taught you about golden cockerel. My spiral comes up high so that I come down low. If I come down low, it's too restrictive. We want to start the spiral and then be able to come down. Can we apply it to this one? Okay, it's a little harder, but you're going to have to take it one step back and say, oh yeah, I remember and now I'm getting good. I spiral up, start my spiral higher rather than start low and push, no place to push. So we apply on a multitask of brushing our knee, we take it higher to come down lower, okay? But not high up here and then come down like this. It's a natural down to come down, okay? You don't have to exaggerate that, but you should feel and know what your body is doing for you in an advantageous way, okay? All right, we're on a T. I'm not going to be able to help you or correct you until I see the footage, but that's okay. And maybe with the footage, I might not even show it, okay, to the public. On a T stance, we're going to brush your knee out and to the side, then make yourself small. Sit down lower, pivot, parallel higher on a T, ear, hand, heel, turn the hips and waist, spiral down. Sit back lower, pivot, parallel higher on a T, naturally come ear and down and turn, sit it to the side. Sit back lower, pivot, parallel higher. Ear, heel, hand, turn hips and waist, brush knee. Very nice. Sit back, lower. Let's part the wild horse's mane without moving that shoulder higher. Don't move it higher. Out and to the side, part the wild horse's mane. You drop your shoulders as you do your flying diagonal. Sit back, lower. Pivot, root down, center with the ball. Out on an L. Where's your flying diagonal? Sit back, lower. Pivot, parallel higher. Multitask, drop that hand, but not excessively. Lower, parallel higher, out on an L, spiral down. Okay, very good. So take those things home and try to practice it a little bit more.
We're always striving to help you connect the dots. Most of you have gone through the whole session, or pretty near whole session, so you sort of know approximately where your hands should be at the beginning of a movement, and that's for the convenience of blocking it out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What you want to do is say 10 form, and you don't have to worry about, oh, I got to position number 1, number 2, number 3. As you learn, you have to get to position number 1, number 2, number 3. But when you ultimately succeed, it should be flowing. It's almost like, geez, where did number 1 stop and number 2 begin? Okay, I'm going to just show you one of the dots versus the smoothing out. You've been taught on brush knee is you get up to here. try to smooth it out so that you are, see, coming here. You're coming here, and as this is coming down, this is coming forward. You shift, you come out here. You do not come out to the dot, because we've taught you the dot, ready to go, but we want you to flow. This is coming this way, and the other one is coming this way. And then you put the two together, so there's a flow. Okay, so think about that. You already know that eventually the dynamic portion, seemingly dynamic portion, is here. Fill it in with the spiral. Remember the spiral, moving all the time.
One thing about getting into cloud hands is a really pretty, one of the prettier moves. But one thing is to get into it correctly, okay? So let's go over that. I can see it from the corner of my eye, and I know it takes a little bit of more instruction, okay? So we're on a T stance, we're holding our ball, right hand on the bottom, right foot ready to go, storing it down rather than waiting for the energy to not build up, okay? You're gonna store that energy. Out on an L, move that ball, part the wild horse's mane. Stay in this position. Do you have a flying diagonal? Flip the forward hand, join it with the back hand. One more time, flying diagonal. We're getting into cloud hands. How do you get into cloud hands? On a bow stance, you flip the forward hand, you join it with the back hand. The left hand palm is showing you, the right hand palm is away from you, okay? Now you sit back, lower. We're still in the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock position, right? How do you get to 12 o'clock? You pivot. Do you move your hands? No. You're pivoting, the hands go for the ride. All you have to do is cup, right? How do you get out to the 9? Do you move your hands out to the 9? No. You pivot by alleviating some weight of the left foot, put it on its heel, turn out to the 9. The hands went for the ride. But what do? Two things happen. We flip the hands, join the feet. Home base, middle or cup. 3 o'clock, two things happen. Use your hips and waist. Show me that you have any that are moving for you. 9 o'clock, only flip the hands. Middle or cup. 3 o'clock, two things happen. Middle or cup. 9 o'clock, only, flip the hands open. 3 o'clock, only one thing happens. Practice how you're going to come up high and spiral down. Practice how you're going to start high and push down. Practice how you're going to center, but off center a little bit. Raise the hands up higher so that you can come down with more security, going out with grasping of the bird's tail. Do you see that? Can you look at me? Do you see my arms and my elbows are not that way? Bring them all the way in so that the person in the back of you can barely see your ball or your elbows or your arms. Out on an L, push your opponent. Stop pushing him. How do you reposition your hands? Do you make your hands go out to the right position? No, just turn your hips and waist. What happened to your hand? It moved into the right position. Therefore, the left hand can join it. Okay, we'll go over it again because it requires lots of understanding. Sit back, sit down, look back. Contact. Turn at the hips and waist in the middle of the body. Push out that energy. Separate and sit down. Make yourself small. Then unflex those knees and push out. Sit down, lower. Pivot. Don't show me your elbows and your arms because you're centered. Out and to the side on an L, push them away. Stop. Turn hips and waist, reposition the back hand. Sit down, sit back. Look back. Contact. Don't stop. Push from the center. Separate. Roll back. Make yourself small. Spiral up and forward. Sit down. Lower. Pivot the left foot. The hand follows. Out. Pivot with the right foot. The hand follows. In, pivot with the right foot, hand follows. Shift your weight to the left, right hand on the inside of the cross. Rotate as you elevate. At chest level, bring the tiger closer to you, then push him away. Shoulder width away. What do? How do your hands go for the ride? Show me. Drop your shoulders, flex your knees. Gravity takes care of the rest. Don't resist gravity. Otherwise, you'll never get back down to the closing of your form. Okay? So I said a lot. Hopefully you followed, and maybe you did some partially, and some maybe need some clarification. So when we close our form, sit back, sit down, pivot. Do you notice that my hands are still here, but they're moving because I'm using my hips and waist. I do not get there by bringing them out and leaving my hips and waist there. They are moving because I'm doing something with my hips and waist. Okay? So, push out. I push out because you're watching. Sit down, lower, pivot, open pivot, in pivot, shift my weight. All I'm asking is that the right hand goes inside the cross. I'm embracing the tiger. At this point, I want you to touch because it gives you better balance, better security. I want you to rotate as you come up. At chest level, bring the tiger closer to you, but not against you, just a little bit to give you that power to then push out from the left wrist. Make sure that it's shoulder width away rather than out or in. Then what? Drop your shoulders, flex your knees. The better I can drop my shoulders, flex my knees, I can get home. I am not resisting gravity by saying, oh, I need to get there, and then I use my hand, only the power of my hand. So you use your whole body to rest and bring back your energy. Let gravity take care of the rest, even though you've already flexed to your max. But slowly you can time it so that the flexing takes a longer duration to help you with the gravity to bring your hands back down. Then keep it there, then rotate it back, then shift your weight, and then close your form, and then just don't pop up and say, I'm done. Okay, you don't need to tell anybody that you're done. They can see it. They can see that your feet are now closed and you're done. So to end, you can then elevate slightly, but keep your Tai Chi posture rather than keeping a soldier's posture, okay? So that's how to end in a nice way. Good Tai Chi posture, dropping those shoulders. Commencing form. Open. Rotate. Deep breath. Release. Make yourself small. Center. Higher glance. Open. Bring it to your ear. Turn hips and waist. Acknowledge repulse monkey. Glance, open, ear, turn, repulse of the monkey. T-stance, parallel and higher. Multitask to brush your knee. Sit back, lower. Parallel, higher. L stance, bow stance. Lower, center, ball and T. Part the wild horse's mane. Get a good stretch, flying diagonal. Sit back, lower. Root down, center with your ball, bring it in. Out on an L. Here it is. Flip the forward hand, join it with a backhand. Then sit back, lower. 12 o'clock. Pivot out to the 9 o'clock. Two things happen. 3 o'clock, two things happen. One thing happens. Two things happen. Two things happen. One thing happens. Center. Higher. Grasp the bird's tail. First, ward off. Push them away. Turn hips and waist. Reposition your hands. Sit down. Contacts. Push out. Roll back. Other side. Turn hips and waist, reposition. Contact. Push. Roll back. Spiral up and forward. Sit back, lower. Pivot. Open pivot. In pivot. Tuck the right hand in. Rotate. Bring it up to chest level. Bring it in. Push out. Shoulder width. Drop your shoulders, flex your knees, let gravity take care of everything as you now close your form. Open. Rotate. Deep breath. Release. Make yourself small. Center. Higher glance. Open. Bring it to your ear. Turn hips and waist. Acknowledge repulse monkey. Glance, open, ear, turn, repulse of the monkey. T-stance, parallel and higher. Multitask to brush your knee. Sit back, lower. Parallel, higher. L stance, bow stance. Lower, center, ball and tee. Part the wild horse's mane. Get a good stretch, flying diagonal. Sit back, lower. Root down, center with your ball, bring it in. Out on an L. Here it is. Flip the forward hand, join it with a backhand. Then sit back, lower. 12 o'clock. Pivot out to the 9 o'clock. Two things happen. 3 o'clock, two things happen. One thing happens. Two things happen. Two things happen. One thing happens. Center. Higher. Grasp the bird's tail. First, ward off. Push them away. Turn hips and waist. Reposition your hands. Sit down. Contacts. Push out. Roll back. Other side. Turn hips and waist, reposition. Contact. Push. Roll back. Spiral up and forward. Sit back, lower, pivot, open pivot, in pivot, tuck the right hand in, rotate, bring it up to chest level, bring it in, push out. Shoulder width, drop your shoulders, flex your knees, let gravity take care of everything as you now close your form. Okay, good job. See you next time, 2 more weeks.
Bye.